Inktober Tanglers. Welcome to my studio here in Estes Park. Again, I'm Annie-Reiser and I am catching up on days 7 and 8 with Flux Echo by Lynn Mead and Snack by Tomas Padros. The materials we're using today are very simple, just a white Bijou tile or a 2" by 2" square piece of paper, whatever you have. I like 140-pound hot press watercolor. I've got my 01 Micron pen, a soft graphite pencil, and my tortillon. So let's get started. I'm going to do something kind of unusual with Snack. I love Snack, but I'm going to use it as a string. And as such, it might be a little confusing to see how to draw it. So let me show you just first quickly how to draw Snack. I know it's probably meant to be used in tiny little, almost snack-like bite-sized pieces. Kind of like Cheetos or something, and I can imagine doing a whole bowl full of them. But I'm going to use it as a large string, and this is how Snack is drawn. I like to start with just a dot and a nice sized spiral into an S shape and back around into the spiral. And taking off from here, you can go and make a nice fat belly onto that S shape down there. And then we're going to do the same thing here. You can either turn your tile and do the same thing, or you can start up here, bow out, and get right back to there. And that's basically the Snack shape. Just really fun. Again, these are 2 tangles that I have never done, so I don't have a lot of samples to show you, but I don't have any really, other than that I just practiced it a lot in my sketchbook before coming up with this idea of a design. Using it because I'm a botanical illustrator, I like to do organic and floral things. So I'm using this more as a leaf and some florets. Instead of starting with Snack, I'm going to actually start with Flux Echo, and I can show you that right here. But I am going to place it very conscientiously here. Flux Echo just starts with a circle around which we're going to build our flower. And it bows up, kind of squishes down, and then you're just going to go progressively smaller until you get to the last one, which curls in towards the bottom. Just like with so many things, unbirthday, banana leaf, you're just going to get progressively smaller and then do that. Lynn Mead, the creator of this little tangle, also puts a line like a midrib down here just to give it some texture and character, and that is Flux Echo. Now we're going to combine the Flux Echo with our Snack, and we're going to use this as pretty much as our starting dot, this, right? But we're going to give this Flux Echo some room, and we're going to go down, make our S shape, and I'm really giving it some room here because I'm going to do another Flux Echo in there. And it's going to go like this. I'm just going to turn it so that the top is oriented this way. I'm going to do another one of these. I don't think it has to be exactly 3 on either side. This one would be tucked underneath there, right? Oh, I forgot to finish my Snack. Sorry about that. So I'm going to start up here and I'm going to bow out like that and like that. And this one's going to be a little bit thinner than my sample. I did my belly quite a bit larger on my original, but that's okay. I'm always going to draw a little bit different, especially when I'm talking. So let me finish this, and I'm going to finish this Snack off to make it look kind of like these are resting on top of a leaf. And I'm going to do that by I'm going to start kind of in the middle and bow out to make some midribs. And instead of bowing back out this way, we're going to give this kind of a little bit more movement by going the opposite direction. So I'm going to curve down like this. So there's the start, and now we're going to do some line weight, but do you see how that kind of dips down? And we're going to emphasize that with our shading. But now I'm going to weight this area here just with those little tiny triangles at the bottom. I'm going to do it on either side, always where it's on the bottom of the snack shape, not in the midrib. And now we're going to embellish that little S with some more of our flux echoes. And I'm going to use this area in here to nest one in here. And we're going to always, of course, draw behind. I'm going to do one up here. That's going to be kind of floating. But we're going to ground that at the end. Now, Lynn does 1, 2 on either side of the mid petal, and then she does this wraparound. But I think it's okay if you want to keep adding a little bit of petal, if you don't feel like it's full enough, and then those can be smaller as well. Let's see, I'm going to do another one here. You make this one larger so that we have some overlap. And I'm going to nest one right in here, just like on the other side. Let's look at this for a minute. Compositionally speaking, it could use something more out here. So let's do one. And then to kind of connect them, I'm going to put one here that's just partially visible. So it's kind of like a cluster. And then we're not done yet. We're going to make kind of an interesting background. And you can do any tangle in the background, right? But I want to do some line work that is just basically echo lines. So this S is going in this direction. To make for an interesting design, we want to have movement coming from this direction. So I'm going to start my line work going that direction, but I am going to use what's down to guide that line. So I want it to be going almost like an X, right? So now I've got the start, and I'm just going to echo that. Pretty close. Go start echoing that, and I'm going to echo this here. And however you do this is up to you. It's just really kind of fun to just play with what shapes you have. Not sure I like what I did here. I probably should have just kept my lines going straight down, but that's okay. not going to see it so much once we get our shading in. So there is our flux echo with snack before we shade. And now we're going to make it really dramatic. We might go back and weight some line, but first let's shade. I got a really sharp 2B graphite pencil, and we're going to start by giving our snack some body, putting the graphite along the outside. I'm going to save that out because I'm going to put the graphite along here instead of on the outside. We want our petals, our little flux echoes, to sit up a bit off of the snack. Same here. So I'm going to put the graphite here. And if there's room, we can put a little bit here just to make that edge seem rounded. Oh, I see, I forgot some line work. This one's kind of an elongated snack rather than a fat one. Get really dark in here. Can almost put that in there with black pen. Okay, so that's basically the snack shading, and now we're going to do our flux echoes. I like to put some around down here, and there's a couple ways you can do it. You can put some along the petal edge so that you blend away on the one side, and it makes it look like the petals are kind of separated, like they should be, right? Let's go down here a little more. Or if you'd like, you can use the midrib for the shading, and down here, and kind of fill out the whole thing with shading as if it's the value. So those are two different ways to do this. And then we will go back and shade those centers in a minute. I'm going to finish this up. So for the little pearls, we'll just do our comma shading. And you only really have to do it on the big ones. You can add just a little bit of graphite with your tortilla and what's left on the tip, just to give the others a little bit of dimension. They're so small, there's not much that you can do. Now I am going to get my, oh well, we're not done yet. To make this really dramatic, I know it looks kind of like it's floating on a sea of water. Oops, I forgot one of my perfs. I'm going to use this line work just like we do when we make our crescent moon. I'm going to shade where the lines meet to make some undulation. It's like this up, down, hills and valleys, right? And then to make these little florets, these little, what are they called? Flux echoes pop. You can go in and underneath really get some darks to make them pop up off of this surface that we just drew. And remember, I have my kneaded eraser here. If I get too dark somewhere, I can always lift and reblend, lift and reblend. I'm kind of liking just, do you see how that just makes it even more believable that these are snugged in close to each other? And this would also get a drop shadow. I really like working in the black and white. There's such a drama about black and white, if you ask me, that you just really don't get quite as deep with color. Now I see I've lost a little bit of a highlight over here, so I'm going to just take my kneaded eraser and lift that, and then reblend. We do want this to look like it's really nested into this snack. I love the name. This one too. Here we have Flux, Echo, and Snack, and I hope you have fun following along. This was my first one that I did. As you can see, even though I try to draw the same, they're never the same, and this guy has quite a bit bigger belly, which is really pretty. I like that too. This is more leaf-like, right? It could use a little bit more of a transition here, a little bit more lifting. Always kind of take your time, step away from your piece and come back to it, and you can find a few more little things that you can do, such as, see how nice and dark I got my line work there so that that snack really sits up off of our background. And then some of these petals I've really emphasized some of those divisions. See, you can tell the difference. Let me show you this side compared to this side. You see how this has no line weight and this does? So that's the difference. It really does make a difference to go back and give it a little bit of polishing. And you don't, when you weight your lines, you don't want to weight everything. I say that all the time. I'm sure you're sick of hearing me say it, but if you weight everything, then there's no liveliness, right? Then it's all the same. This one got a little bit big and thick. This all takes time, but that's kind of the fun of it, to go back and enjoy the line work you just made and really revisit some places that need a little bit of cleanup. Or there, I think I would say that we're finished. Have fun with this one. I will see you soon. Thanks for joining me. That's it for today's Tangle. Thanks for joining me. If you like these lunchtime tutorials, please give them a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I also invite you to check out my website for classes that I have scheduled, or to purchase my Tangle tags for your favorite step outs. That's botangle.net. I'm leaving you with some other links too. Zentangle.com, where you can learn more about the Zentangle method from its founders, Rick Roberts and Maria Thomas. You can also visit their store there for a multitude of Zentangle paper tiles, tools, books, and kits. Tanglepatterns.com is that site I talk about, where you can explore hundreds of tangle patterns, read about them, and get the step out, which is basically the deconstruction of the pattern. And finally, if you'd like to share your beautiful results with me and my student community, please join Annie's Botangle Alumni Facebook page. We're a private group where we inspire each other with our work and offer tips and useful information about art and Zentangle.